أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده واستعينه واستهديه واستغفره وأؤمن به جل وعلا ولا أكفره وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth, and this way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd, inna Allah yahmuru bil adli wal ihsani wa ita'i dil qurba wa yanha anil fahsha'i wal munkari wal baghi ya'idhukum la'allakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يُرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah in His plan will to guide, He opens their breast to Islam. For now, Allah wants to reward us and wants to guide us to His best gift to humanity. He guides us to Islam. That is, He guides us to the Quran. He guides us to the beauty of Buniyya al-Islam wa la khams shahadati and la ilaha illallah wa ikamati salat wa ata'a zakat wa hajj al-bayti wa sawmi Ramadan. Islam is founded on 5 principles. Of course, that's the belief in Allah, but that is the establishment of salat, the giving of zakat, and fasting during the month of Ramadan, and Hajj al-Bayti, the pilgrimage to Mecca once in a lifetime. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Hold on, or hold fast all together by the rope which Allah stretches out to you, and be not divided amongst yourselves. One of the key words, 2 key words in there is asama or atasimu. Asama comes from the old days. They used to call the capital of a city or fortification Asama. That was the capital city, or it was fortified and defended. And then, of course, holding on to the rope of Allah, Jamiyan, not individually, Jamiyan, all together. See, if we wonder about all this fitna in the news and everything and all the hatred toward Islam, when this becomes a reality, jami'an, all together, that means the whole ummah. This is the dream that we've had from the first day of our Islamic life, and it even grows more as we move on because we really understand and we feel the necessity for holding on to the rope, jami'an, all together, and be not divided. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nasi ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best peoples ever raised up for mankind or evolved for mankind. So this evolution, you know, if you look at a sign, I say it every week, Karaja, you know, means exit. But it also means, in Arabic it means exit, but it also means evolving and moving, and sometimes it means to go out or something. Remember I was telling you about Khawarij? This is way back in the beginning of Islam. These guys were so Islamic, they exited Islam. They was out because they were so overwhelming. They were so Islamic, they was going crazy with Islam. They call them Khawarij. That means they exited. They went out of Islam because they were too Islamic. At least that's what they thought they was. That's what our history called them, Khawarij. But you are the best people. It has nothing to do with race. It don't say you the best people because you're black, you the best people because you're white, you the best people because you're Arab, Pakistani. All of you don't say that. That means you're Islam. You are the best people evolved for mankind. Why? It's simple, because you enjoin the right, you forbid the wrong, and you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the reason. فَإِنَّ أَصْدِقَ الْحَدِيثِ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ وَأَوْضَاقَ الْأُورَى كَلِمَةُ التَّقْوَى وَخَيْرُ الْمِلَالِ مِلَّةُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَخَيْرُ السُّنَنِ سُنَّةُ مُحَمَّدٍ صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشرف الحديث ذكر الله وأحسن القصص هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوازنها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأما علامة دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفعها وخير الهادي ما أتبعها وشر الأمة أما الكافر. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. And you know, Surah Baqarah, after Alif Lam Mim, it starts with Dhalikal Kitabu La Rayba Fihi Hudan Lil Muttaqin. That is, this is the book. In it is guidance sure, without doubt, to those who believe. La Rayba Fi, that ain't no doubt about it. Or technically, there's no doubt in that book. Now, you got science books, there's a little doubt in them here and there, because whatever the scientific view is, you go along for 5 years, maybe even 100 years, and they prove that theory wrong, right? You go along for, if it's a book on sociology, they have certain scientific sociology. They may have made some studies and research on the development and the evolution of the human being and the family, and it comes out that there's some doubt in it. And that doubt may be related to the group that's that printed the book, made the book, the research, all of that, because those are human philosophies, those are human procedures. So there's doubt in them. I don't care how Look, you know they always bragging about how good this Constitution is here in America, right? Oh, they roll over and turn flips and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You know, there's a difference between the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. I don't know why I got on this subject, but I just rave of people. They talk about it, ain't no doubt. We got some amendments and we got, well, first of all, if you got a constitution and the first thing the people don't like it, they got to write 10 amendments to it before they even accept it, right? So the thing is full of doubt. Our founding fathers. Why? You know, your founding fathers, their founding fathers, they was all rich guys. You know, old George Washington, that boy was big right across the street in Virginia. Patrick Henry there. Ben Franklin was the first millionaire in America. So remember you read the Declaration of Independence. That's one thing. All men are created equal and endowed with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what they said in 1776. That's when they wanted independence from Europe, right? From old King George. But a few years later, when they writing up the Constitution, you don't find all that now. They done won a war, the poor people, the Minutemen, right? They fought and won a war that was for rich men. And the rich men wrote the Constitution. All up was delegates and all. There wasn't no poor people there. Why wasn't no poor people there? Because in the Constitution, I don't care what color you was. If you didn't have no property, you couldn't vote. Remember that? They don't know. And if you was a girl, that's too bad for you. They just got to vote. You know, it's 100 years ago that women just got the right to vote here in the U.S. 100 years ago, plus Prohibition. Y'all don't remember Prohibition. Well, I don't either, but I saw a lot of movies. Anyway, so everything they do is doubt in it. And you, shoot, everybody in this room was 3/5 of a person. Remember the 3/5 thing? When they count 5 goats, it's 5. 5 apples from an apple tree, 5. 5 niggas equal 3. Right? 3/5 of him. How can you take a human being and make him 3/5 of a person? In other words, the Quran, la rayba fihi hudan lil muttaqin. Couple of things. They said that Quran is not equal because men get twice as much, or a woman get half as much as the man. Right? That's what they say. And everybody said, woo, that's terrible. What's terrible about it? Look, whatever the man gets, when he gets married, that goes into the pot, right? When a woman gets married, technically, it don't go in the pot. If she's a nice wife, friendly and everything, she can put it in the pot. But if she ain't, she can keep all of that for herself plus her mar. You know what a mar is? It ain't no bride price or nothing like that. That's a guarantee against divorce. That's a protection. Anyway, it's a long story. Look, Allah knows what Allah wants done for humanity and knows our makeup. Allah don't make no mistakes. See, if the structure we have, if we follow that, the man goes to work, he does this, and does that, take care of the family, and the woman gonna get her share of that work, plus she can keep the other part. Right? I'm just telling you. La rayba fi hudan lil muttaqin. Let me speed up here. The best way of life is the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the glorious, most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most glorious death is death of the martyr. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. Best acts are ones that yield benefits. Best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Aqulu kali hada, astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairil mursalin. Muhammadin al-Nabi al-Ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ijma'in. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Wealth is not in vast riches, but wealth is in self-contentment." Wealth is in self-contentment. That's agreed upon muttafaqa alayha. It's reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Verily, Allah says, O son of Adam, find leisure for my service, and then I shall fill up your heart with contentment, and I shall shut up your poverty. And if you do not do it, I shall keep your hand engaged in work, and I shall not close up your poverty." This is Ahmed and Ibn Majah. Of course, these hadith talk about self-contentment. And self-contentment, that was a study about the old robber barons. Remember the first big super rich guys, Henry Ford and Rockefeller and all those guys way back when? No matter how much money they had, they were never, Andrew Carnegie and all of them, they were not happy. They were not contented with what they had. So, if you have, let's say, $500,000, that's a lot of money for us these days, and you're contented with that, it's better than having $100 million and not being content. You're nervous, you're paranoid. Something is gonna go wrong. Something is, I gotta have more. Think about greed and what have you. If you got $10 million and the guy down the street got $100 million, do you feel poor? You feel poor, man, so-and-so, he got $100 million, I ain't got. And the one that got the $100 million, the one that's got 500 billion or million or whatever it is, he's the one, he feels poor too. Because somebody got more money than him, and he feels insecure, and he's not content with what he has. So what about the man that has thousands, I'm just using monetary terms because we can all add and subtract, just has $1,000, nice family, and he may even have some bad eyesight, a hurt leg or something, but he's content with what he has. He's thankful to Allah. He appreciates what Allah has given him. Who's the best off? It's the one that's contented with what he has. That's why every morning we should get up, we should have a list of things, just quick gratification. Oh Allah, thank you for my eyesight, my hands, my this, that, and other. Anything like that, just gratefulness. Just as a habit. Just find a few things to be grateful about. It doesn't make any difference about how your life is going. You may be facing serious obstacles and challenges. But if you're grateful, remember last week, Ayom Allah, about Allah sent Musa alayhi salam to bring the people out of darkness and the boom into the nur, into the light. And he taught, remember the days of Allah, Ayam Allah, right? And then it says, right after that, if you are thankful and appreciative, I will give you more. Right? This is what Allah said. So if you are grateful and thankful for what you have, if you're contented with it, Allah gonna give you more. And you don't know what more is. It could be more. I mean, see, I know humanly we can't, but the hadith about the knowledge of Allah, and if Allah gave all of us 7 heavens and 7 earths, each one of us, ourselves, it wouldn't inflate or decrease Allah, because Allah is, right? Allah could give us personally, everybody on this earth, 7 heavens and 7 earths of their own, right? Or what about the now? If you stick your finger in a little water, right? If the oceans was all water and everything, which it is, and you stick your finger in there, and that sticks to your finger. You know, this is what the hadith say. Look at how great Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. So imagine if you're contented with what Allah gives you. And then Allah say, I give you more. And that's also why we look at hadith tell us, look, don't look at the people who are wealthier, more beautiful, and got more stuff than you. Look at people that have less than you. Why? You feel contented and happy. Right? If you got big buck teeth, don't look at all the beautiful people and say, oh, I wish I was like them. Look at somebody that got snagged tooth and everything. I'm not just making jokes here, but that's true. Do not look. You know, some of the most insecure women in the world is the most beautiful ones. Oh, I picked up 1/4 smidgen of a pound today. And look, I got 1 gray hair. They're in their 30s. I got a gray hair. They panic and they're ready to jump off a bridge. The most beautiful people in the world are the most insecure. Right? Because they got to stay that standard of beauty or want even more. So everything that people have, and you look at it as really special or something, it may not be that big of a blessing, right? If happiness came from Hollywood, everybody in Hollywood would be happy because they all look nice, they all got big houses, big cars, and they're all famous. Everybody like them, except they don't like themselves. It's crazy. So this is contentment. Okay. Now, the report that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, verily, Allah says. So this is Allah says, that's technically a hadith Qudsi. Hadith Qudsi is different than standard hadith. Standard hadith, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this, and he reported it to the people and they heard it. Hadith Qudsi means Allah said it, but it's not the Quran, right? It's not the Quran. It's not a divine revelation like the Quran is. So Hadith Qudsi, that means it's pure, it's holy, it has sanctity in it, but it's not the Quran. So when it says, the Hadith says, Allah says, remember what Hadith about Allah says? I am to the believer as what he expects of me. Your expectation of Allah, that's not the subject today, but what you expect out of Allah, a lot of times, that's what you get. If you're praying for a job, all of that is you might get a job. That's because you think that's maybe either your limits or Allah's limits. You can't pray for more. If we pray for world peace, the establishment of the Ummah, and all of that stuff, the natural workings of the universe, or the earth, get back in accord with the way Allah created and gave it. Didn't Allah give us a universe, earth that worked perfect, has a design. What's it? The balance, right? Is it balanced now? Is the earth balanced? I mean, just think about it. I'll eventually get to what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about contentment and making Allah's work your leisure. What does that mean? Leisure? Fun? Vacation-ish like? Yeah, that's what it, you make Allah's work your leisure. Your hobby, like. That's what the hadith is saying. Then Allah will fill up your condition with contentment. And now, it also says, if you don't do that, you're going to still be working for the rest of your life, but you ain't going to never feel rich. You're just going to be working and working, and you probably be getting paid. You're going to get all of that, but you're not going to feel like it. You're going to feel, I need more, more, more. But if you make Allah's work, the khidmah, the work of Allah, your leisure, your pleasure, you're in good shape. That's what the hadith say. Okay, we'll just do a few more. Abu Sa'id radiallahu anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "There is no patient man but possesses power, and there is no wise man but possesses experience." It's reported, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the wounded men of Abu Qais tribe, he was saying about them, "Surely there are in you two attributes which Allah likes, patience and delay." And there's another one that's reported, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, patience is half of faith. Now we know the hadith about getting married is the perfection of half of your faith and trust Allah for the rest. Now going back to the top hadith, Abu Sa'id radiallahu anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "There is no patient man but possesses power, and there is no wise man but possesses experience." Now remember what we've always said about what is our criterion for everything. Number one is the Quran. That's what we follow. Number two is the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And number three is history, because the Quran says, travel in the earth and see what was the end of all of those before you, right? This is what the Quran is directing us to do, to study history. It says that many places in the Quran. Go over past peoples and see what are the circumstances of their life that caused things to happen this way. What was their response, right? And study history. Then experience. What's the fourth one? For us, right here. Experience. We get world experience from studying history. We have to study our history right here in the United States. American history, Negro history, all of that. We have to study our situation, right? And how it all have functioned and came together and what we got. We have to study our experience. That's what the hadith is telling us. It ain't nobody got no power if they haven't studied experience. If they haven't realized what is the experience. Now, you know, what is experience to us? Experience for us right here in America, give us the opportunity to understand the world, right? From right here. So automatically, when we look at Palestine and we say, that ain't right. Why? Because ain't nobody been treated more unjust than me and you right here, right? So we know about injustice. We already, we understand injustice. We understand unfairness. And we study people's history And we see there's people that had a certain history, certain pattern of behavior throughout history. That may be Yahoo. So we study all of that, and when we see other things going on in the world, we may see that most of the destruction, fitna coming for us at this time, it's easy to see. Well, the United States is in the Middle East doing all these things over there. This ain't new. He's been doing it all the time. Right, tell the truth. Boss man been doing his thing all the time. He ain't never. And sometime in class we talk about U.S. history, you know, and they think, oh, if y'all remember the Pentagon Papers, some of y'all might remember the Pentagon Papers, where they had the whole history of Vietnam, and they said from day one, this is a bad war, we can't win this war, da-da-da-da-da-da. And Ho Chi Minh them said in 1946, their whole pattern of their constitution was based kind of like on American style, right? But the French wanted Indochina back from the Japanese, so they hit it on and on and on. And you know, Abraham Lincoln used to go up on Capitol Hill when he was in Congress. And they used to call him Spotty. That was his nickname, Spotty. You know why? He would go up to the map and he would say, show me the spot where Mexico invaded the United States. To a lot of people, what's that all about? Well, California, Arizona, right? New Mexico, Texas, Colorado, Nevada, all those big states, where do they come from? You know, you can drive in California up and down all day. You can drive in Texas. If you started Beaumont, Texas, is swamp over there right next to Louisiana. When you finish up in El Paso on 10, you're in the desert and been in the desert a long time, right? Those are huge states. If you go from here, 4-hour drive to New York, you done went through Delaware, Pennsylvania, I don't know how many, Maryland, right across. Hey man, you done went through 4 states just to go 4 hours away. New Jersey, right? Out there, they stole 55% of Mexico was stolen from it. All right? Our friend here in the United States. Why? Manifest destiny. 2 ocean power. We visualize ourselves as Anglo-Saxon, not just white folks, but Anglo-Saxon controlling this whole region. And they set everything aside to fulfill that destiny. They called it in the 1830s and 40s, manifest destiny, right? What about, well, the Civil War, we had that. What about, remember the Maine? How many of y'all remember the Maine? Remember the Maine? In Havana Harbor, right? What was that, 1898, something like that? They said, oh, the Cubans, no, the Spanish, that great empire in the old days, blew up our ship. The boiler blew up. Whatever it was, the Spanish definitely didn't do it. And why would they have the 6th Fleet over in the Philippines the same day the ship blew up? So America stole, when I was a kid, they called the Philippines the Philippine colonies. They stole the Philippines, right? They stole that from Spain. All the islands that they have now, Puerto Rico and all those, they stole them from Spain. They stole them. They took them. They just took them. Like now, they're in the Middle East. They have their view of the so-called Middle East. And they're trying to make the Middle East their vision. The Israeli vision combined with the American vision, right? So the Zionists have a view. And you notice the Zionists, they are funny people. In order for them to feel secure, everybody else got to be insecure. You ever notice that on the news? So they can steal the Golan Heights from Syria. They can build houses all day. If they build one more house, it ain't gonna be, Palestine is gonna be just little 3-4 blocks wide, right? It's unbelievable. But Israeli security, Zionist security. You know what the Zionists act like? How many people remember, well, you saw them all in old movies, about Nazis? How do the Israelis act? They act exactly like Nazis, right? Collective punishment. You kill one German, we killing 1,000 or 200 of you people, whoever those people are, right? In America, you remember in the old movies, they'd always ask, the Nazis would ask, papers please, your papers. What they do as soon as you go out the door, let's see, you got proof of insurance, you got to see your license and registration, right? All that stuff ain't in the Constitution. What about all the raids all over the black neighborhood? Well, they might have arranged that. Every war they got in, they arranged it, isn't that right? And so, for the last 40 or 50 years, they have stop and frisk. Because Negroes was carrying and using guns for a few years, right? For a while they was using it on them. Of course, now we use it on each other for the last, I don't know how long. I mean, we really use it on each other. Right? We really use them guns on each other. And ain't no police getting killed by black people. Tell the truth. Who's killing all the white police? White folks. You know why? They give white folks a chance. You know, they just pull up, walk, they used to, they just walk up to the car and say stuff, and the white, bam, 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 you know, the white nationalist groups and all that. They blow, and they know how to shoot a little better than most of us. You know why? They practice it. You know, white folks love guns. They love them. You ever walked in a Negro's house and see a gun rack? You ever walk in the white man's house? All of them, of course. What do they have? Me and you got an old rusty pistol under the pillow or something. White folks got that whole wall. Would you believe it? Many white folks, they got, I ain't gonna mention it. I'm gonna get back on the subject. I went to a gun show in Baltimore. And I saw, you know, them long carts. White boys had them carts stacked up this high, and you know, they made out of, bullets made out of lead, and they were struggling to push the thing that long and that high. How much money do all them bullets cost? And they lower middle class, they put their whole thing. What about if boss man jump on the news and say, we thinking about taking guns? All of them going to the gun show the next day, and they pulling a raid, a psychological raid. They buying up everything. The children can go hungry, they go hungry. You can have their mouth stuck out, some of the little white kids' belly almost sticking out like ours in Africa. Why? Because the husband is spending all their money on guns. Let me get back to the subject, because we could go on for. The subject is security, insecurity, contentment, and thievery, studying history. We study the history of the United States, right? And it's not a good history. Forget about all the land belonged to the Indians. I was watching the other night and reading a little bit. I buried my, what is it? It Wounded Knee. You know, Wounded Knee. Europeans have slaughtered Indians. Then they was coming down with white man's diseases. They showed all the children dying. Well, that's true. Yeah. But the other part that's true is when they starved them, right? When they slaughtered all the buffalo, right? That means the Indian couldn't fight no more because they studied the Indians. What do they believe in? Wonka Tonka, who incorporated early kind of polytheist like, so they believe that the buffalo is kind of a little illa, a little kind of god-like. Well, think about it. The Indians ate the buffalo. They built their houses out of buffalo hides, right? So, and the buffalo, it was 6 million of them on the plains, all Kansas, Nebraska, all that grassland out there, right? 6 million buffalo. So if the white man wanted to finish off the Indians, what did he do? He sent people out on trains and shot the buffalo. They created styles, clothing back east. Buffalo robes in Europe, buffalo hat, everything buffalo, right? They went out and slaughtered all the buffalo. After that, the Indian is finished. They put them on the reservation. They freezing to death, dying. Then they gave them blankets with smallpox on them. Boy, I'm telling you, anybody that think that this European over here, they come over to America for freedom and justice. Anybody that have any of that, I would like to see it. We would all like to see that. We want to see that. You know, that freedom, justice, equality, fair play. We want to see that. Hey man, he killed all the Indians' substance. And then the buffalo just wiped them out and gave them blankets with smallpox on it. That's your homeboy. That's boss man right here. He's still here right now. I mean, the kids, they do that, but they do everything else. The American people are easily brainwashed, like most people are, you know. So they go and fight. Remember Vietnam? You would look at all the old movies and everything about Vietnam was bad almost for them, right? They lost that war. They got the snot whooped out of them. So if 50 or 60,000 of them died, they still killed 2 or 3 million Vietnamese. The bombings, Cambodia, Laos, North Vietnam, all of that, right? Look at all them people they killed. They just wiped them out because that's where they're coming from, right? And you would think they would never do that again to anybody. Well, you haven't been watching TV or nothing lately, right? 2003, they invaded Iraq. Isn't that right? And they slaughtered. Remember Miss Albright? This was before the invasion. They asked her, says, thousands, actually they said, the boycott, the sanctions that you had on Iraq, that's during Saddam's time. After Saddam was a good stooge for him, he fought the Iranians and all that, right? He fought them. And they gave him everything he needed, satellite imagery, all of that. So, you would think that they would never invade anybody else after Vietnam, right? They just come up with weapons of mass destruction, right? WMDs, and they float in, and they slaughter us. And they asked us, before that, they asked Madeleine Albright, what do you think about the 750,000 people that had died? That was in the 90s under these sanctions and everything. And depleted uranium. Remember all them babies born in Iraq with 2, 3 legs, all kind of deformities? Now that's one thing way off. But the women that went over there from America, all over America for a period, right? The women was having deformed babies here in America. And they would tell the soldiers, well, you're just having headaches and all that. That ain't nothing. Just take a couple of aspirin. They had Gulf War syndrome, right? They was crazy. What about today? Today, you know, 22 million American wounded warriors are gonna die. You know how? Suicide. It ain't never been a war where they kill more people that self-suicide than they die in the war. people know they was lied to. They go over there and they face people and they say, they realize this is not a video game. And them young kids realize, if somebody came into my mom's house, like we're going into these Arabs' house, right, kicking in the door, pressing them down, blowing up people, right? They say this guy, Qasem Soleimani, was a terrorist. Yeah, they terrorists. He was terrorizing them because he put together a pattern of plan for Iraq, right? For Syria, for Iran, and IUDs and all that. They was walking on the street or driving down and saying they got blew up. They didn't belong there. Iraq don't belong to them, right? And if Iraq and Iran fought an 8-year war, but now they want to be friends, that's their business. It's called the Persian Gulf, not the Gulf of Mexico. That's the Persian Gulf, right? That's that land. All people have a right to self-determination, to determine their own future according to their way of life, according to their religion, according to their social customs, whether we agree with them or not. But a group of people in Africa have a right to do what they want to do. They don't need Saudi Arabian money raising Boko Haram and all them clowns. You know all them clowns? They don't kill no euros. They just blow you. Boko Haram. Stay in the West is Haram. Well, why don't you blow a few? I wouldn't say that. Why don't you, get mad at euros every now and then, right? No. Our people in that part of the world, some of them have sold out badly. Egypt used to be a bastion of defense for the people of Palestine. Now, the Egyptian government is holding hands with the Israelis, right? The Egyptian government, not the people. See, that's the difference we have to understand. That's what experience tells us. It's not the people of that region that's bad. It's our governments over there that's bad. Them boys ain't no good. They sell each other out for nickels and dimes and pennies, right? So it's the government of those regions. This is what we have to remember. We don't pay attention to how they spread this on TV. Well, there's disruption in this country and that country. Yeah, because how many remember the Dwight David Eisenhower, the president, his last speech? Beware of what? Military-industrial complex. Who is that? That's the people. Dwight David Eisenhower, technically, it was 2 5-star generals in America, Douglas MacArthur and Eisenhower. Eisenhower controlled the whole East Coast operation, the whole European theater, and MacArthur controlled Japan, Malay, all of that area over there. Eisenhower became president, and he studied his environment. And then he said, his last speech was, beware of the military-industrial complex. Technically, those people run everything. Why? That means the CIA makes wars. Why? So the military-industrial complex can sell weapons to both sides. As long as they don't make no money off peace. They only make money off war. That's why the CIA, when I was living in Africa, everything coming from the U.S. was bad. They had the Peace Corps in those days. Everybody considered the Peace Corps as the police. The government, the United States government, snooping in, giving you a bowl of rice here, and telling everybody who's who and learning your society how to pull the string, and your whole society come apart. We have to not accept that. So experience, history, the Sunnah, and the Quran. That's going backwards, of course. When we study that, we can understand our environment. You know, we can understand our environment, our experience. And, of course, patience. Wa sabru wa nifsul iman. That's what this other hadith says. Patience is half of faith. Wa sabru wa nifsul iman. That means patience is half of faith. I'm going to read a couple more, then I'm going to call it a day. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, this is of course the people of Abu Qais tribe, there are two traits of character in you which Allah loves, patience and delay. It's reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, delay comes from Allah and haste from the devil, or shaitan. It's reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said from the father of Amash, who said, I don't know it except from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Delay in everything is good except in actions of the hereafter. So delay is good in everything but salat. Don't delay your salat. Right? Fasting in Ramadan, do it properly. When the sun go down, break your fast. Don't say, I can last a couple more hours. No, break your fast. Right? Don't be no tough guy. You know, don't worry. If you can go a little while, don't you worry. It's hooked up right. Think about it. In the West, we have a solar calendar, right? The Muslims have a lunar calendar. Every 33 years, our calendar revolves around their calendar, right? So, I remember when we first accepted Islam, true Islam, not that other stuff, but true Islam, we was fasting, I don't know, something like October. When was y'all? October? No, y'all was way back, a little ahead of us. Shoot, y'all was fasting in November or something like that, right? In those days. Okay. So November is fine. It's nice and cool in November. But as it get along a little bit, you ease into September, pretty soon you're going to hit August. And August, you're going to be reeling and rocking and swaying back and forth. Now remember, don't worry. We got it good here. We got it good. Suppose you was fasting in, let's say, Iraq. 122 degrees. 120 degrees is common. 115 is daily. It's like Phoenix or somewhere. It's normal. You ain't never fasted in no weather like that, right? And then it's going to creep around in June and go back around. Like now, we'll be in May and going on up into early May now. Right? Pretty soon, boy, we're going to be fasting, looking here, in March, in February, right? And then you'll get to where you say, oh man, this ain't fasting at all. Shoot, sun go down at 4:45, right? And it's dark, man, and I don't even feel it. Don't worry. A lot of them hooked it up for you. Just hold on a minute. Don't you worry. It's going to ease back every 33 years. Our calendar go around. So don't you worry. If you got to ease for a while, don't you worry. Allah going to hook you up. And pretty soon you're going to be back to August and July and June. Right? And you're going to be on fire. So don't worry about it. What you do is you thank Allah. Oh Allah, alhamdulillah, it's February. Ain't much a challenge, but alhamdulillah, enjoy it while you can. It ain't gonna last. You're gonna be back around. Anyway, so delay is good in everything except things of the hereafter. You know, don't delay those things. Now, I have a personal delay that I'm doing. I don't think I should even mention it, but you know, I have a Hajj visa from 1988 or something. And we was even talking about the Saudis in those days, you know. So the Saudis sent my visa, Hajj visa, and everybody left for Hajj. So we had a good friend, Sheikh Mabruk. He was from Libya. He was a good, harmless person, but he did just Islamic work. I don't know if y'all ever heard Jamaat al-Tabligh. Those guys just go around and they don't hurt nobody. They just go to all the store owners and say, hey, you guys come back to Islam. They don't do it. They're not political. You can't make them do no politics. But the Saudis cut him up and put him in a suitcase, and his wife identified him. All she could identify was by his ring. He still had on his finger. He was cut up and put in a suitcase. So I'm not afraid to go to Hajj, but I've been talking about them Saudis so bad. Remember the little guy stood up in here the other day? He was from Saudi Arabia. He wasn't saying nothing correctly at all. I said, man, we've had a little experience, so we ain't going to even talk to you about it. But we wanted to listen to see what he had to say. So Saudi Arabia treats people, now you know, we done read about martyrdom and all of that, but martyrdom is passing away in the cause of Allah and you go straight to paradise. So sometime you sitting here looking at, well, you better hurry up to Hajj. And then you look up and you say, these Saudis be cutting people up and putting it historically. It ain't nothing new. So, for everybody else, hurry to Hajj. I'm going to just get at the back of the line, that's all. I'm going to go. But I'm going to, you know, it said, hurry up and do it. But my feet got lead in it right now. So I'm going, you know, eventually. But they don't treat people good. In 88, can you imagine in 1988, 87, they killed 600 Iranians? You know what I mean? They don't be playing at Hajj. Sometimes 1,400 got trampled a few years after that. So anyway, forget about personal stuff. Don't delay Salah. Do it at the right time. Okay? Don't delay Ramadan, the fasting. When it's time to stop eating, stop. When it's time to start eating, start. But what Allah and His Messenger are saying about this is about delay. Delay is good in everything except the things that are hereafter. Do you know we've been the #1 target for the United States government for, I don't know, decades inside of America. But they don't run our life. We do what we think is right. And they try to push a button to make you do something. You delay it. Pretty soon Allah uncover the whole thing. That's what happened with delay. When you do something hastily, first of all, you might be making a mistake. If you can hold for a while, everything is going to unfold in its proper way, in its proper time. Delay is good. And even if boss man gets slick on something he's doing and try to circumvent your delay with one of his delays, it don't work. I just want to mention, and we all know, think about what we've been doing here. Why is there a few people here? Do you remember when the place was full? Sure it was. Full everywhere. We had, I don't know, 9 or 10 centers around the United States. What happened? Do Y'all remember all those demonstrations we used to have in the city on Palestine and all of that? Where are they at now? Where's all the people who were here? Where are all the people who were in California? Where are all the people in San Diego? Where are all the people at UCLA? All of those places. Where are they? Where are they? Where did they go? Who sent them to where they are, right? You ain't seen us run after nobody. Please don't go. You know why? Because in the old days, COINTEL program, they would fill up your group beyond your capacity to manage it. That's what they did to the Black Panther Party, right? They filled it up. It was way more snitches, tattletales, and Uncle Toms in the party than there were functional people. They blew it up. I'm from Oakland, so I was watching what they did. They just blew it up. They opened up chapters all around America. Just like that, right? The people couldn't control it. The government had more control of the party than they did. In every city where they caused big trouble, it's because at that city, like some of the brothers in Louisiana. Do you remember one of our brothers, they just let him go after 42 years in the penitentiary in Louisiana? And he died the next day. They had a whole thing studying. Finally, the doctor said, first they said he's going to die in a week. We ain't going to let him go that. When it was guaranteed almost, only Allah knows the time, but he couldn't last another day, they let him out. That's your friend. That's boss man. Boss man, look, they don't have that. Look, this guy is not mean. He's some type of monster or something. Let's call him Shaitan. His behavior. Now, I'm not talking about our group from here that says the white man is a devil. Of course, that's what I came up through, and it's a standing joke that if he ain't the devil, boy, he's pretty close, right? But it's not European people. It's not white people. You see the little girl going around, Greta something or other, telling everybody, fix up global warming and do it right. She's now somewhere in Davos telling the people over there, ain't nobody listening to her. Well, ain't nobody listening to us neither. So it don't have nothing to do with race or color. It's when people get lazy and they not woke. When they not woke, they just not woke. And Pharaoh had a potent sleeping potion. He dazzled everybody, right? Boss man dazzled everybody here. But that light is getting glimmer and glimmer and glimmer. You know, I had a demonstration today. It was 2 million, they said it was a 1 million man march in Iraq to get the U.S. out of what? The thing about martyrdom, I'm going to close in a minute. The thing about martyrdom is Allah did not waste a martyr goes straight to paradise. A martyr, you don't have to wash, in fact, you shouldn't wash their body. Their blood purifies. You bury them in the clothes that they in. That's a martyr, right? Okay. When they martyred this brother a few weeks ago, Qasem Soleimani, and another brother, Muhandis, I think his name was. You know, we've been trying to do certain things for a long time. Wahda, unity. This Muslim, that Muslim, Sunni, Shia. See, we don't care. We're from here, right? Nobody care about what madhab you know what I mean? You say La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah, fine, that's it. You face our Qibla, you eat our food, that's what the hadith say, isn't that right? Then we homies. cultural, when we first come to Islam, first years we would hang around Pakistanis. Pakistani dress, Pakistani food, right? And we liked the Pakistani community or the Indian community had came to the West in big numbers in the early 50s in England. So all of the books that we had access to in English was from Europe, from India and Pakistan, because they came here, they came there. Now the English, I used to sell books, so I asked the brother when I was in Lahore, I said, man, the English, hey, he said, well, the British colonized us. You don't know what they did to us. This is the only way we can get back at them. I said, you're getting back at them by butchering the language. But we got so good at Islam, we knew what they was trying to say. Remember them early books a long time ago? If somebody read it, they didn't know what they were saying. We got so good, right, that we knew what they were trying to say. The point is this: every culture, we got a chance to just be in with everybody, because everybody would say, and this is Islam. That's what Pakistanis would say. Arabs would say, this is Islam. Everybody had their own cultural little, Malaysians, and everybody had their own, and what did we say? We said, that's fine. But we got ours, where did we get it from? Straight from Quran and Sunnah, right? And so we say, we didn't tell nobody, hey man, I don't know about that. But a lot of that was their cultural, it's right, it's their cultural inclusion. But we wanted to be a little closer to the way our own experience. Okay, the point is this, that we always wanted just an Islamic presentation. We never could produce unity to the extent that it is now. Like the demonstration today, it's Khutbah Jum'ah time, 2.5 million people in Iraq are saying the U.S. out. That's what I'm getting to, the subject of martyrdom. You couldn't have had people, they said in Tehran, 5-7 million people, in other cities, the same amounts of people. The martyrdom, I'll close with this. They're saying it's not like pre-Hijrah and post-Hijrah. But as far as Islam in this time, they're saying that time before a month ago, when he was martyred, and after, look at the difference. Look at the difference, before and after, right now. What boss man said, oh, ain't nothing happening. First boss man was talking about, look at here. You even lift your eyelid at us, we're going to blow you away. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Then the people hit him, and he said, well, all is well, all is well. Everything's all right. What does delay do? You just wait a while, pretty soon it start easing out, right? Oh, well, they sent 11 over here. Actually more. He sent some more over here. In other words, Sam got a blast that's unbelievable, isn't that right? He got a real good blowing up. Yeah, he got a good blowing up. And boss man ain't said nothing. You know why? try to scare everybody. Now, ain't nobody scared. I'm going to close with this for real. I've said it almost every week. When you get sensitive about environmental circumstances, now remember, $20 million, $25 million, some say even 30 million people going to Najaf and Karbala, right? On Arba'in. A lot of the brothers, we used to, how many times we mentioned that in class? Over and over again, for years, right? They didn't know what it meant. I'm going to say it again so everybody understands. We don't care nothing about no madhab at all. I pray the way I pray because that's the way I learn. I ain't found nothing better, that's the way I pray. I don't see nothing inferior or superior about none of these people running around talking about, Kawaris. I ain't gonna call them Salafis and stuff like that, I won't call them that. But if you're gonna be so serious, your behavior ought to, you know what I mean? I've had people so strong in the Sunnah, they can come borrow money and never pay it back. Well, I have to pay him back because he's hangs around with Shias. So he can borrow all the money from me that he won't. Not to say he's an imam or nothing like that. But they can borrow what they want and never pay it back because, hey, I just want to take one more second. One of the biggest book dealers in America, in New York. All the book dealers around the country got books from him. And then, one of the books, the poor guy used a card to get them printed on in Europe. This is a very expensive book. It was a Shia translation of Quran. And they got the book, sold it, and made plenty of money. They didn't pay him a dime. They almost broke him. This whole book operation, one of the biggest book operations in the U.S. Because somebody went around from such and such a place said, he's a Shia, he's a Shiite. Which he was. But he didn't start out selling Shia literature. He sold all the Islamic literature, right? But they said, anyway, here's what we want to do here. We want to make a proper analysis of our environmental circumstances so we will make the right decision based on where we are, who we are, and how things are going. So we'll be basically correct. When we look at things the way they are right now, if you look at the strategic balance in that part of the world, we've been saying this a long time. It's a strategic alliance. Iran, Iraq, Syria. Now, years ago, we hated Syria during Hafiz Assad's time, and even Bashir Assad's. Even we didn't like them. Some of them run the country are Alawiyah. You think they say Ali is Allah. So they really on the roll. They on the roll. If you say Ali is Allah, then but most of the people in Syria are Sunnis. The government may be not that good, but for a strategic alliance, remember, they're trying to write their picture on the Middle East. Remember what they did to Gaddafi? Remember? We didn't like Gaddafi. Some of our brothers right here in America got money from Gaddafi, right? Back in the old days. Because he would help you if you were semi-Islamic, but you couldn't be. Our brothers from Libya that was in the Islamic movement, they couldn't go back to Libya until things happened because Gaddafi was there. Remember his green book? Anybody remember the green book? Kind of like the red book. Gaddafi said, Hadith, they're like fairy tales. Sure, we like the Quran, but he was cutting off part of the body of Islam, talking about he only going to accept one part, and this other part, the Sunnah is fairy tales. So he had a book he wrote. The green book, you know, Chairman Mao had the red book, so he got the green book. Anyway, he did help a lot of people. They used to joke, he said he was the king of Africa, so he helped the people of Africa all the time. He had $34 billion in gold. He helped people in Chad, if you want to do, ever since I was there, he helped people. But it was not Islamic, that's all. So when they got rid of him, technically, they did more harm than they did good. Why? Because he was a bulwark in that region, right? All the problems Europeans have now with immigration, people going, where do they go? They go to Libya. They couldn't go to Libya during Gaddafi's time, right? The people are now so poor in Africa, they're willing to go across. You gotta be poor, man, and want better life bad. If you 1,000 of you get stuck together on a little boat and you can't do nothing but stand up, they finding thousands of people in the ocean. That means when they got rid of Gaddafi, the people needed help. And the Libyan people sometimes didn't like the African people, and they started treating them pretty bad here recently. They didn't do it before, because it was all one big happy family. I'm trying to say this. The problems that they have in Europe, they created it themselves. The problem that they have in the Middle East, they created it themselves. The United States went into Iraq, right? The United States is against Iran. The United States is causing all that trouble, right? There's a separation coming. If you look at Iran, you look at Iraq, you look at Syria, you look at Lebanon, right? You're starting to see a strategic alliance. Okay. That don't mean we have to agree with all the people and love them, but what we would rather see is them managing things, right? Than boss man. Boss man got the worst record in world history. That's the way it is. Now, I'm gonna actually close in a minute. 20 million, 25, 30 million people going to Najaf and Karbala doing Arbain. We've been saying this for years, almost decades. What does it mean? It means that Allah was preparing the Alul Bayt for something. The government didn't know it, they didn't know it, and none of them was paying attention to what was happening. They wasn't paying attention. We was paying attention here because of our experience to study this whole historical process. Now, everybody here didn't have enough. Just tell the truth, or if I'm lying, just raise your hand like the little guy from Saudi Arabia did. Don't holler or nothing because you can't do it. How accurate have we been over the decades? There will be no Arab Spring, on and on. Where did you hear it? You heard it here, right? I'm going to say this as quick as possible, and I'm going to go on and leave this alive. Therefore, Allah had prepared Ahlul Bayt for this period in history. Ahlul Bayt, that's what it's prepared. That's what they, 30% of Afghanis, right, is what? Shias. 30% of Pakistanis is Shias. 90% of Iranians is Shias. 70% of Iraq is Shias, right? When you have 20, 30 million people going to one place at one time and participating in certain rituals, right? That's Allah preparing them. That's why right now, when that big drone was shot out of there, Iranians shot it out of there. Why? Because they said enough is enough. And now everybody on that team is rumbling around. How can they have a 2.5 million read this stuff? Well, you can't read it in the year's newspaper, but right now, I was looking at it on my phone. 2.5 million people today to get rid of the U.S. The last thing the U.S. wanted to do was leave Iraq. There's no other way for that to happen. The unity, the harmony, the compassion, all one life. Aga Soleimani could not have done any of those things if he was alive. Couldn't have done them. He did the best he could. But his martyrdom, they laid it out. And I'll close with this. Those people, see, we've been a big supporter of Velayat Faqih. There's a lot of Iranians here don't care nothing about Velayat Faqih. Do you know that you can't go into one Shia joint and hear nothing taught about Velayat Faqih? You can't do it. And that's the thing that kept them different, right? Velayat Faqih is what got, what? Afghanis ain't scared. Afghanis is some tough customers, right? They tough customers. They don't have Velayat Faqih to keep them unified and focused, right? I'm telling you. Same thing with Iraq. Iraq had Saddam. Iraq got this, and they all running around. Now they started to focus a little bit, right? And don't worry about Muqtada Assad and those guys. You know, his uncle was Muhammad Bakr Sada. I know y'all don't know all these people. At Dawa and all of those groups. He was big. He asked Imam Khomeini in 1980, he said, you want me to stay on our post or come and work with y'all in the revolution? He said, stay on your post. He was martyred. His sister was martyred. Bint al-Huda. Right? The disappeared Imam from Musa Sada, from Lebanon in 81. He went to Libya and haven't seen him since. I'm trying to tell you, so that name is serious amongst certain people. Their personality carries a lot of weight. Or you couldn't get 2.5 million people out today. I see people looking at their watches. What we want to do here, we're going to head back to California. We just want to put you up on what's going on so you won't be surprised. If you're on Boss Man's side, that's a bad decision. Boss Man, we got a t-shirt coming out soon. Boss Man bites the dust. Boss Man is gone. You have to have enough foresight to see the historical process. There's no way he can survive this. He can't do it. This is time to go. The British, sun never set on the British Empire, right? Never. During his time. The Romans, Pax Romania, the whole world almost under Roman influence, right? America, for the last 75 years, Pax Americana, the global ruler, tells everybody what to do. Those days are going fast. And when we thank Allah, thank Him for dawn. Dawn is an accelerator. I mean, just spend a little time. You know, don't make no little monument or nothing, but thank Allah for dawn. Dawn has done a wonderful job. Tell the truth. He done run everybody crazy because he's crazy. We thank Allah for sending that dummy to mess up everything and to show what a fool looks like. Right? He is what they call a damn fool. And we thank Allah for him. Not for what he does harm, but he accelerates the wrong so it cuts it off. Instead of 100 million people dying, right? Only 20 million people died because he done accelerated the process. Well, Lord, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and godliness. We seek thy refuge from being overpowered by death and oppression. O Allah, suffice us with what is lawful. Keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace, make us free from want of what is besides thee. Ameen. We come to Salah.